It is all about the 80s today, so I had to bust out the neon. All right, so I was gonna do like a top 5 80s music list, and then I realized that that's impossible because you have to break it down into like all these different categories, right? There's like the teeny boppers, there's the pop, there's the rock, and then there's the rap. I was like, there's no way I can just pick 5 people. So I'm gonna give you guys like my favorite variety, I guess, from the 80s. So I absolutely love Madonna. She was like my idol growing up. It was all about Madonna. So definitely Madonna. My favorite band in the 80s was NKOTB. Woohoo! New Kids on the Block. No shame to admit it. My dad took me to the first concert. He said it was so loud. He told my mom it was so obnoxious that all these little girls were just like, ah! The entire concert. Like, I don't even want to scream as loud as I was screaming, but it's pretty obnoxious. So those were definitely some faves. And then I also listened to a lot of Guns N' Roses. And then I loved Bon Jovi. So, okay, so we're going to try to break it down. Just see, I was all across the board, you know, with all that. And then I liked some rap, too. So maybe some stuff I should have been listening to as a kid. Whatever. Okay, so we're going to break it down to categories. Okay, so we're going to start with the teeny boppers. Obviously, New Kids on the Block. And there was, like, Debbie Gibson and Tiffany, and they always tried to make you feel like you had to pick a side. Do you like Debbie Gibson? Do you like Tiffany? I liked both. I had the Debbie Gibson Electric Youth perfume. Every cool girl had it. And then Tiffany was just like more of the bad girl that you kind of wanted to be, though. Like, you know, Debbie Gibson was more like the good girl. I was definitely more of a Tiffany, but I like Debbie Gibson. And then Millie Vanilli, oh my goodness, who did not love Millie Vanilli? Or at least the songs were good, obviously. It wasn't them singing. The faces were pretty. I mean, I think lots of girls had crushes on them back in the day. So yes, and then I was trying to think of more, but I did not, like, I know Menudo was huge. I was never into them. So those are pretty much it for as far as like my teeny boppers. As far as like my more pop stuff, obviously Madonna, and I actually got to go on stage with her once, and it was amazing. Yes. And then Michael Jackson, obviously huge in the 80s. You can't really think of the 80s without Michael Jackson. The Cure. The Cure is probably one of my favorite bands of all time. I own every single Cure album, and even some of like the EPs and like the like, what are they called? I don't even know what they're called anymore. Like the singles, the imports, you name it. I literally had like the entire Cure discography, right? Yes, I said that right. Depeche Mode, oh my gosh, they made me so happy. I loved Depeche Mode. I got to see all of these people in concert, actually, except for Michael Jackson, like, of who I'm talking about right now. I got to see Depeche Mode, I got to see Madonna, I got to see The Cure, and KOTV. I saw Tiffany with New Kids on the Block, actually. I did not see Debbie Gibson. My parents would not let me go to Millie Vanilli. Who else do it? The Smiths. The Smiths. I used to love the Smiths. I was a big, like, I love my 80s. I love my 80s music. So now we're gonna go more into rock. So my favorite 80s rock band is probably Guns N' Roses. I love Guns N' Roses. I own a lot of their stuff too. I love Bon Jovi. I loved Poison. You can't put Motley Crue in a hair band category. They'd be really mad. They're definitely more rock. There were so many 80s hair bands. Like, some of them I liked some of their songs and not all of them. Same with the rock. I did forget to mention In Excess, because they're kind of pop, but they're kind of rock too. And then U2 was around in the 80s, wasn't there? They started in the 80s. They've been around forever. But I feel like I got into them more in the 90s. So, and then rap. Let's talk about 80s rap. So the Beastie Boys were obviously fun and rebellious, and I love the Beastie Boys. LL Cool J. I think even as a little girl, I thought he was hot and had a crush on him. So he was another favorite. And he just had fun. Like, his music was just fun. And then who else did I like? Salt and Pepper. I loved Salt and Pepper. Run DMC was fun. NWA was fun. I'm trying to think if there was anyone else that I really listened to. Yes, you know who else I forgot to mention? And I adore him. And he also turned out to be a good actor. Ice-T. You can't have a list without having Ice-T. So those are some of my favorite music from the 80s. I do have to throw in that my first concert that I ever went to, that my parents took me to, was Cheap Trick. And that was a really fun concert. That's another 80s band. And then I remember, I think Midnight Oil was there. I think it was them. They had that one song with the MTV line or whatever. And that was huge because MTV had just come out and all that. So that was my first major concert that I went to. And then my second major one was New Kids on the Block. And then my dad took me to go see Madonna, and I was supposed to be grounded because I got in trouble. And my dad still snuck me and took me to Madonna because my dad rocks like that. So yeah, my dad took me to a lot of concerts actually as I got older. Then that goes on to the 90s. He took me to see Aerosmith and all sorts. But that's later. Right now we're talking about the 80s. Even though technically Aerosmith started that earlier, actually I did not get into them until the 90s. So we're going to cut it here. And I want you to comment down below. Tell me if this brings back any childhood memories. If you're going to go listen to some 80s pop, hair metal, rap, or maybe some boy bands. I don't know. Subscribe to my channel so you can get all the notifications when I have a new video. And I will see you soon. Bye.